So if you haven't heard by now, Adventure Time is coming back. With a twist. Fiona and Cake are actually getting their own spin-off. As much as I'm excited for this show, I can't ignore the concerns I have for how or if this show will have the same amount of reach the original Adventure Time did. With so much time between the show wrapping up and the eventual release of this, exactly how many people have moved on? I feel like this is really going to test the loyalty of this fan base and question if this show can maybe build its own. So this video is pretty much a warning to those who are going to go at this with a magnifying glass expecting a Finn and Jake clone, and to the people who didn't even know this thing was a thing until they clicked on this video. I have a feeling we are in for a unique treat, but there's a few things we are going to have to accept as to reasons why it could pop or flop. But first, let's get into what we know so far about this series. Simon, formerly known as Ice King, arrives in a universe with Fiona and Cake, where all three of them have seemed to have lost their memories of past adventures. And not only that, a universe-hopping threat is out to kill them all. This premise is miles different from what we got in the original AT. Fiona and Cake episodes in the original series were pretty much lighthearted gender swap what-if scenarios by Ice King. To be quite honest, out of the handful of episodes we got, I was only a fan of about 1 or 2 of them from what I can remember. I know AT didn't exactly have the most coherent episodes of all time, but you could almost always guarantee most of the Fiona and Cake episodes were throwaway ideas. But much later in the show we find out that Fiona and Cake were a lot more than just weird fantasies, which is most likely how Simon ended up in this new series. There's this theory floating around about the universal hopping villain that's in pursuit of them. Apparently it could possibly be Betty chasing Simon as the new goal. With the way Betty was so dedicated to Simon, I feel like there could be some merit to that. I for one don't want Betty's story to just wrap up how it did. I wonder if that's going to be Simon's mission throughout season 1. But enough theorizing, let's get into what else we know that's going to be different about the show. Alright, so Penn Ward created such a wonderful world with such fun lore and a handful of fleshed out characters. What if I told you his contributions to this new series would be little to none? Instead of Ward being the lead director, he's passing it off to his once underling, now lead, Adam Muto. While not being the mastermind behind the original show, he did have a hand in several Emmy award-winning episodes of Adventure Time, and even co-created Distant Lands. Anyone who had a part in that Finn and Jake episode is no one to scoff at, that's for sure. So he's definitely decorated and qualified for making Fiona and Cake. My only fear is that it will be bloated with romances or love triangles. My hope is that they find other angles that just don't make her an object of desire. I had enough of that from the handful of episodes we got in the original series. One of the biggest reasons for my concern is because the show is only going to be 10 episodes long. The original first season of Adventure Time was 26 episodes and was rolled out to an audience for over several months, establishing a handful of characters through conversations, weekly teases, and memes. Basically, they had plenty of time to get their feet wet with an audience. Fiona and Cake is going to get ate up on an afternoon binge session, so that means the story or vibe is going to have to hit the ground running. Cartoons have not had the best run on streaming services, so that's already a steep hurdle to clear as is for the show, unless they have a few hour-long specials wrapped into the season or quickly following this up. However, 30 minutes compared to the AT's original 11 is certainly going to be a shift in a positive direction. Coming off of Distant Lands, I think 30 minutes will definitely feel less taxing. However, it's still hard for me to see 10 episodes getting enough hype for a second season. But then again, Velma got greenlit for a second season and that was an absolute dumpster fire. So maybe I shouldn't be too worried about it getting at least 2 seasons. But regardless, they're not going to be able to lightly roll out the story like they did for the original AT. Whatever selling point they have for this show is going to have to engage the audience immediately. I'm obviously not including speculations on potential wait times for the second season when I say this, but lasting impressions are going to sink or swim this season, that's for sure. I also wonder if Donald Glover is going to make a return. I know that's going to be an expensive role for them to maintain, so I can't see him having much screen time this time around. As far as to my knowledge, there really hasn't been an animated show that has been successfully able to pop off on the Max platform organically. Honestly, Fiona and Cake was probably better off being greenlit back on Cartoon Network, even with television being on its way out the door. I've personally used Max as a way to catch up on a lot of old shows. I rarely find myself browsing their current catalog of newer shows, but that could certainly change in the near future. Be sure to like this for more reviews. But essentially what I'm getting at here is exactly how many Adventure Time fans are going to tune in for this show with it being locked to only one streaming service. Distant Lands has 4 solid hour-long episodes expanding the lore of the show, and the conversations surrounding those episodes are on their last legs. Is Fiona and Cake getting sent straight to the back pages of the cartoons and animation tab? I certainly hope not. Now, with all that being said, you're probably wondering when this is scheduled to launch. Well, scrolling through Adam Muto's Twitter, it appears production has finally wrapped up, and with this being still set to launch in 2023, we may possibly be seeing this in the fall. I'm for sure excited to check it out, but again, the real question is how excited and aware is everyone else? But if you made it to the end of the video, I would love to hear what you think. think? Are you excited? Are your friends excited? Do you even have people to talk to about this? I certainly don't, which is precisely why I made this video. Expect longer AT content in the near future. I still have a few ideas I gotta get off my list, so stay tuned. And be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Oddman out.